Welcome to the What Do I Do If series. So we're going to do a lot of these. So I get questions from my clients very often about what do I do if? And a lot of times it's either to set themselves up for success and just to get rid of obstacles on the way, or it's something that is happening and they're like, okay, this is happening, what do I do? And it's really nice just to know what to do. So we're going to start with our first one today. What do I do if I am really hungry in my deficit, like extremely hungry, my stomach is growling, I feel really low on energy, I just feel absolutely horrible? Let's talk about it. Two different paths that I would recommend for this, and we're going to talk about each one and which one will be best for you depending on the answers that you give. First, let's say you're in your deficit and it is a proper deficit. It's not like you just dropped 1,000 calories randomly, but you're in a proper deficit. You're just really, really hungry and it is just a struggle. So first, I want you to check your fiber intake. So fiber helps you stay full, and a lot of that comes from eating whole foods. Whole foods have a lot of fiber in them. Next, check your protein. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of time to digest proteins. The more protein you have, the more full you stay. So make sure you're eating an adequate amount of protein. Check your whole food intake. If you are getting most of your calories from processed foods, it is very likely that a lot of the nutrients and a lot of the fiber and a lot of the protein that would be helping you stay full is not in there. So when you eat whole foods, it has much more fiber, which keeps you more full. And whole foods like fruits and veggies are really easy to snack on. So if you're hungry, snack on some carrots, snack on some apples, something that is a whole food, because those have fiber to keep you full and they also have a lot of water to keep you hydrated. And because they are so low calorie, you can eat a lot of apples or a lot of carrots or a lot of broccoli or whatever, like any fruit or vegetable that you really like. You need a lot of those. You will very likely knock over deficit if you eat like a whole bunch of apples when you're really hungry. Are you drinking enough water? When you start feeling really hungry, occasionally, if you're not really used to what your body actually needs throughout the day, so like if you're not entirely sure when you're hungry or full or when you're thirsty, if you cannot tell the difference yet, which is normal, if you haven't really tracked or focused on it, it's normal not to realize. So drink water. If you're really hungry, drink some water, drink a good amount of water, wait another 15 minutes, and then if you're still hungry, then you might actually be hungry. And then from there, you can go to the Whole Foods for some snacks. You can make sure you're eating enough fiber, enough protein, things like that. So just make sure your water intake is solid. In order for you to be able to eat more and still stay in your deficit, you could switch to low calorie or zero calorie or zero sugar sweeteners. If you're putting Splenda in your coffee or something instead of like cane sugar, so you could do that. So that way then you have more calories that you can work with throughout the day. Another thing you could do is switch to low calorie or zero calorie dressing. So that makes it much easier then to eat more of whatever salad you're eating or whatever other thing that you're eating. You can have more of that because you have less calories coming from your dressing. So, and it still tastes good. You can still have your condiments, but it's just less calories. So that way you can stay in your deficit and eat more food. Last thing I would check is just to see if a meal frequency that works really well for you. So find a meal frequency that works for you. If eating like 3 times a day works really well, if you would prefer 5 smaller meals. So anything that works better for you that helps you stay more full throughout the day so you feel hungry less often. Now do keep in mind that when you deficit, you will be hungry, and that is how you know that you're in a proper deficit. Of course, we don't want you to be extremely hungry to the point where like you just feel horrible all the time, but you will be a low level of hungry all the time when you're in a deficit. And that is normal, so keep that in mind. Make sure that it is just a normal low level sense of hunger. You will get used to it as you go. Another thing that's helpful is sometimes people will eat extremely fast and your brain doesn't get to catch up to how full you actually are. So you could start eating with your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, you could switch to your left hand to eat. That forces you to eat slower. You'd also work on mindful eating. So that means chewing completely, putting your fork down in between and just focusing on the food. Not watching something while eating is really helpful. So that way you can really enjoy your meals. You can eat slower, you have time to digest, you have time for your stomach to figure out, is it full, is it not? Let's say you're doing all of these things and you're hitting them consistently, every single one of these for like 2 weeks at a time, and you are trying all of these out and you are just still so hungry and so tired, it is just awful. What I would do next, add 200 calories to your daily deficit and just see how you feel after that. And then if you're continuing to lose weight the way that you want, if your waist is still going down, if your body fat percentage is still going down, then you're still in a deficit. Those 200 calories need to be in there, and you may have just been in too low of a deficit. So I would definitely try that out next.